Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a Black Manga Critic. Today's a good day. Today's a good day, all right, to react to that Promise Neverland greatness. That Promise Neverland greatness, all right? I love this manga. Y'all already know I love this manga. It is fantastic. All right, just, adjusting the mic a little bit. But we gotta get to chapter 99. We gotta react. We had to react to chapter 99, all right? We had to do it. All right, so, let's get into it. Let's do this. All right, I've been looking forward to this chapter. I heard it with some heat. Laz, all right, if you haven't subscribed to Commodore Laz, please do. Laz is cool peoples. And yeah, let's get into it. So I'm looking forward to this. If Laz says that like a chapter is like particularly fire, then it probably is. All right. So I'm looking forward to this. All right, let's do this. Looking at the Viz subscription, because that's what I usually use for. Well, that's what I always use for the most part. I think. Let's see what we got. All right, chapter 99. Ooh, so there was a supporter. Ray shook. Ray's like, yes, but also, all right. Not just a recording, but someone alive on the other side of the phone. Was it really a supporter? Was he real? Yeah. Let's go. If he was an enemy, he would have tried to locate us or lure us somewhere, or he would have called back sooner. It's better to be safe than sorry. And the possibility of him being an enemy isn't zero. But I think he was the real thing. Good. So we were able to confirm that we can get in touch with the supporters. So he's going to help us? Actually, we can't say that for sure yet. Huh? He probably thinks we're trying to escape quietly. He wouldn't know that we were searching for the 7 walls to release all of the children. Though it was Mr. Minerva who gave us that option, so it might be expected. We need to let them know about that somehow. But he's on our side nonetheless. Still. He seemed to be under some pressure. The message was short, and he was supposed to call back within 24 hours, but in the end it took him a week to respond. Also, he can't meet us now. It must mean the enemy threat is near. Well, it's good that we know that now. He'll contact us soon. He'll come for us. That's what the supporter said. We should set turns for phone duty so we can answer when he calls back. And we should have everyone learn Morse code too. Yeah. And until he contacts us, I want to move forward as much as we can with the search for the 7 walls. Chapter 99 is entitled Kuvita Dala? Or, yeah, Kuvita Dala. I don't know what that means. I had to look that up. Okay. Search for day, and the panel is dope. Panel's dope as always. All right. Search for day and night with the eyes of the dragon of Kuvitala. Kuvitadala. Sorry, Kuvitadala. First go to R1 North, then 10 R. I guess it's R1 or I guess it's R1. That's what I'm gonna go with. First go 10 R1 North, then 10 R1 East, then 10 R1 South, and 10 R1 West. Then 10 R1 to the sky, 10 R1 to the ground. When the arrow stops between the sands and the sun, when the arrow stops between the sands and the sun sets in the east, the earth will moan and the walls will appear. The thing which separates us and them, that is the 7 walls. They're messing with us, right? Yeah, no matter how many times we read it, it seems like they got to be kidding. It's cryptic overall, but especially here. If you go north, east, south, and west, all the same distances, you end up where you started. Yeah. But we've seen this term, Kavitadala, right? Before, right? Yeah, totally. Were you able to decipher what I asked? Decipher? The ancient manuscripts from the reference room, eh? But any book that touches upon the promise or demons are practically ancient manuscripts. This is totally worn out. How old is this thing? So this is like a flashback. Ray asked me to read it while you were all gone. And we also have a different favor to ask. So another flashback with Ray asking Gilda. But it's not just that they use ancient language. There are some pages that have chicken scratches in an unknown language on the tattered paper. Those are Latin and mirror writing, apparently. Latin? Mirror writing? Yo. Shout out to the children. Shout out to the children. They all geniuses, yo. Come on. They all geniuses, all right? Like this. Come on. Don, Gilda, Ray, like they all smart. They all smart, okay? Latin was a common language of ancient Roman Empire. Mirror writing is reverse writing, as if it was written reflected in a mirror. I can't believe we figured that out. There was a Latin dictionary on another shelf, so it caught my attention. But I didn't have time before we headed to Goldie Pond, so I asked my siblings to decipher it. And once we read it, just as Ray suspected, it was a transcription of the notes of many people. Oh. The times and locations are varied, and probably the oldest among them is written in Latin. Maybe the notes of a servant or of the Rotary clan who made the promise from 1,000 years ago. We only converted them to be legible and looked up the individual words. So that's only speculation. We don't know the exact content, but it appears in the text. The dragon of Kavitidala. Kavitidala. Is it a place, or could it be most likely a location on this map? Here. Coordinates were added in. These are coordinates the same as the ones from the pen. Search for day and night with the eyes of the dragon of Kavitidala. And I don't understand the rest of the hints either, but yeah, we should first go to this Kavitidala place. D528 143. It's pretty far. And who's going? The supporter told us not to move from here. And our first priority is to protect this shelter. Only a few can go. If it's a lot of us, we'll stand out. A select few. Which means it would be Emma, Ray, Hugo, and so it would be Emma and me. And then Don and Gilda. Oh? Huh? Are you sure you want to go with just kids? There's going to be a bunch of demons, and this time there's no guide who knows the way. It's an unknown area where even I haven't gone. I know it's dangerous, and it would be reassuring to have you come with us. But the communication with the supporter let us know the enemy is definitely after us. I'm sure they're searching for this shelter. That's why I don't want to leave it short-handed. This is our base where we all live. I want you to hide and protect the shelter and everyone. Don't worry, Don and Gilda are very reliable. Yeah, they're fast learners. Even when we escaped, they... Oh, that's really... Oh, that's so nice. They're all crying. They're like, yo, they think we're valuable. Yeah, come on. Huh? Oh, if you don't want to come, you don't have to. We do want to go. I'm just happy. I thought we'd have to stay behind again. It was hard to just wait. I'm so happy to be able to do something with you this time. We'll do our best to help out, right, Gilda? Yeah. Dope. Sorry to spoil your cheesy party, but take these two. Don't worry about our side. Yo, the squad. Yo, we got Emma, Ray, Don, Gilda, Violet, and what's that? Is that Nigel? I think I can't remember. But I feel like it's Nigel. I don't know. Maybe it's not Nigel. I feel like this is someone else. Pepe, maybe. I feel like it's Pepe. 4 isn't enough for sufficient guard duty, and these 2 are pretty useful. You're worried about them, aren't you? Yeah. Is it okay to ask you guys to come? Of course. The squad. All right. So the studying, the training, the getting ready. It should be okay because Zach is a medic. Oh, but that's Zach. Okay. Man, I totally got that wrong. Well, should be okay because Zach is a medic and Violet can see well in the dark, right? Oh, that's cool. Violet, ultraviolet. Like, she good. She got it. Were you always this overprotective? Okay. We're going. Yo. This is going to be very good. Chapter 99 end. I like this chapter. I wouldn't say it was like a super hype chapter, but I like that like we're moving and we're not taking too much time. You know what I mean? The one thing I like about the new sort of manga within Weekly Shonen Jump is that like we move fairly quickly. We don't take a lot of time to just like to, to move around and figure things out, stuff like that. Like, and which to me makes sense because like these kids are like brilliant, you know. So it doesn't take them very long to like formulate plans and talk about things and come together. But you know what I mean? Like I like that. I like that they're just like, yo, we ain't got no time. Like demons killing babies and children and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So they're like, we gotta make moves. We gotta make moves. We ain't got 3 years to like sit around and plan and do all this stuff. We gotta make moves. We gotta go. All right, we gotta get busy. Let's do this. All right. So I really like the fact that we're just moving quickly. It didn't take very long to set this stuff up. All right. And I think like this is like a manga that works really well when you read it like in volume form. Some manga to me don't work as like super well when you read them in volume form, I think. And others do. You know, like I think The Promised Neverland is a manga that works really well in volume form. So I'm looking forward to like, I don't have too many volumes. I think I only have like 1 and 2, maybe 3. Maybe I think I have 3 volumes of The Promised Neverland. But it's good. We're moving on. You know what I mean? And I think that's what like needs to happen. And I like that it's just like children, right? Again, we kind of go back to sort of like the genesis of The Promised Neverland, where it's just kids and they got to fight against these like enemies that are supposedly out of their league. You know, so I really like that. I think like going back to it and like sort of like bringing back like the sort of like OG kind of squad, you know what I mean? Where it's like Emma, Ray, but Norman obviously ain't there, but like we understand. Norman's got his own stuff that like he's got to like deal with. He's got to figure that out. But Norman's like incredible. So he'll figure it out, you know. He'll figure out some way to send a signal to them or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he'll find a way and he'll lead them to where he is, I think. And you know he'll survive obviously because they're not gonna kill him. You know, so I'm glad that it's like the OG kind of squad, right? It's like Emma, Ray, Gil, Don, Gilded Don, you know, and then we got the new sort of like OGs like Zach and Violet. Like that's dope to me. Like I love this group. Like to me, this is good because again, you want these instances where, you know, and this is quick. You know what I mean? It's like like we're not even in chapter 100 and we have like, you know, Don and Gilda, we know Don and Gilda. We're attached to Don and Gilda, but now we have them in a group. We get to see a bit more of Violet and Zach, and like it's gonna be dope. And like the trap, so good. All right. And I think what we might also be able to see is like this sort of back and forth, right? We might be able to see this shelter sort of group do their thing. We might go back and forth there. The authors might juggle like 3 things. They might juggle like Norman sort of like stuff, what's going on with the shelter. You know, the shelter stuff might be like, you know, like the Norman stuff might be third in a sense. Then the shelter stuff secondary, and then like what's going on with Emma, Ray, Don, Gilda, Zach, and Violet like is like primary. You know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be dope to me. All right, let's take a chat. You know what it is. Yo, Ghost Parm, what's good? Family Guy, what up? You know, I mean, that's a GOAT moment. Like the squad. Zach, right? Should have been, yeah. I feel like Pepper should have been there too, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, to me, this is definitely a turning point because it's like, yeah, everyone's like, yo, this is facts. Like everybody's like Hunter, like intelligent in this series. You man, what is up? I'm really hyped for this arc too, man. This is so much facts. Like, and I really want to know what's happening in Gracefield. There's so many things going on. You know what I mean? That's like when you have a really great series on your hand to me, when there's like different things going on that you're like genuinely invested in. It's not like, you know, like for right now, it's like if I were to sort of compare it, right, to like One Piece, like I'm only so invested in like the stuff that's going on with like Luffy and Zoro right now. That's about it. All right. And Otama and like in that, like, and what's her name? Okiku and Osuru. Like I think like that's all I care about. I'm not super interested in like what everybody else is doing that much. But here it's like, you know, but here it's like there are so many, You know, there's so many different like things going on, and they're vital. You know what I mean? Like what's going on at the shelter, the fact that there were these people, like there are people on from like the opposing side, right? In a way, coming after like the sort of shelter group. Really, that's who they're like sort of chasing. You know, and it's just really interesting. I don't know who that dude. I mean, I know who the dude is. He's, you know, that guy with the glasses, who's working for Peter Bartrey and like everything like that. That's cool. And it's like, you know, that they're trying to catch these kids, but like now there's like sort of two sort of split sort of groups. So now they have to kind of like, now they're gonna have to like figure that out, and then they're gonna have to separate. And like it to me, that's like interesting. And I want to see like what like the sort of like shelter group sort of like figures out when they get the call. You know what I mean? Like they were important. It's not like the shelter group's just kind of chilling there and they're not gonna do nothing. You know, it's like they have to be there. They have to take this call. They have to deal with that stuff. That's important stuff. And then this other group, like, right, the squad, okay, has to go and like deal with like this, these other coordinates, and we have to figure stuff out. Like this is like, it's so RPG-esque, and I really love that about this manga. Like I think in a lot of ways I didn't realize how RPG-esque this manga has become. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because usually with RPGs, JRPGs, whatever you want to call it, like they're always like certain areas that you have to go to, you have to travel to, right? There are areas that you have to travel to for like the general plot to sort of move forward, right? The like main plot to move forward. And then there are like subplots where maybe you want to like, you know, go over here, you know, to get some item that'll help you along the way or whatever, you know, but it isn't like super necessary for you to like beat the game or move forward or whatever, you know? So I like that. I like that there's like a very like RPG-esque like vibe to it. Even though the series is like clearly like, you know, it's very much like in a lot of ways like a mystery. There's a lot of horror, psychological thriller, stuff like that. I love that. Like that's dope. All right. And it's just so like well woven into the narratives and the story as a whole. To me, that's great. That's just great. Let's see. You know, it's just like cool. It's just cool. Yeah, Yona of the Dawn. Yeah, when they're like you know, like they have to go to like, right, like Yona of the Dawn is also very much like in that sort of sense. It's very RPG-esque in a way. You know, it kind of reminds me like Golden Sun was kind of like that. If you ever played Golden Sun, where like you had like adepts and you had to like, you know, and you needed right, like you had Isaac and Garrett, and like they were sort of like your original kind of like two-man squad. Then you had to go get Ivan, I believe is his name, and Mia, and like those characters were necessary. Like you needed them. And then when you played the sequel, like crazy stuff. All right, but like I'm just really interested in like this series. This series is dope, you know. I gotta read chapter 1. I gotta read chapter 1 again. I gotta read chapter 1 again. Oh, world, you know, but this is just so much. It's just like it's short, you know what I mean? But it's so great. And key, like when you say like, yeah, like I think to me that's also interesting. Like when you think about Norman and he's been out for so long, but it's good. But it's good because like the fact that a series is able to do that, I think that's dope. That's one of the things that I really loved about Hunter x Hunter. Although I feel like Togashi kind of like he got like really into, you know, going to Killua narratives. But I understood it because like they realized they're really young. Like they were like really young. So in some ways, Togashi really wanted to develop them as people, in a sense, so that like when he moved on, in terms of sort of like, you know, the arc that he's in right now, it was like, oh, okay, like we good, we got enough, going in Killua. Like we're chilling, they good, they doing their thing. You know what I mean? Now we can sort of focus on these other characters and see what's going on with them and like follow them and not think about, well, what's going on with Gon. Right now, I have zero interest in like what's going on with Gon right now. I don't care. You know, that's not to say like I don't like Gon as a character or anything like that, or I don't care about Killua at all, like as a character. But like at this moment, and what's going on in terms of the narrative, I don't care that they're not in the narrative because like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like these are the characters that we're focused on right now, and that's fine and it's good. And it's interesting and it's compelling, right? Norman is like, yo, he's got his own stuff, right? And in one sense, we're worried about him, but at the same time, we're also like compelled to like want to know, like, hey, what's going on with the squad that we have right now. When we got Zach, Violet, Don, Gilda, Emma, Ray. You know what I mean? That like Ray. That's what we're invested in right now, and also like Hugo and how am I like blanking on dude's name? Dude with the scar. How am I like blanking on like that? That's like a brain fart. You know what I mean? Like when that happens. But terrible. Somebody remind me. But you know what I mean? Like it's great. Like that. Like to me, that's really cool. When you're able to do that, when you're able to say like, yo, I'm gonna put this character's gonna be over there, and they're like a protagonist, or like a legit protagonist. I'm gonna put them over there for now, and like we're gonna focus on all of us over here. That to me is like a good sign of like a manga that has a lot going on and a lot of things, a lot of interesting things going on, a lot of like compelling things going on. Usually, if you have a manga where there's not a lot of stuff going on, you can't do that. You got to have the certain characters, like they all got to be in the same place and they all got to travel together and da-da-da. Otherwise, it's like, you know? But when a manga does that well, you're able to sort of say, okay, we're doing this stuff over here, but we're also doing this stuff over here, but we're also doing this stuff over here. And we can focus on one area, you know, for a significant period of time and then move to that other area and, you know, maybe bits at a time. And then, you know, sort of focus on a different sort of area, you know, after we focus on like another area. You know what I mean? It's like, that's okay. So a better explanation would be like you have three sort of different like narratives going on at once, right? And maybe you're focused on one of those narratives, but you jump to the other two like bit in like little spurts, right? Like little tiny spurts. And then maybe after you're done with that one sort of narrative that's going on at a particular instance, you can jump to that other to one of the other two narratives, and then jump back to that initial narrative that you started with in spurts. That to me is like dope. You know, it works. It works really well. Yeah, right. Like it's like, can you imagine if Horikoshi put Bakugo on the side for 60 chapters? I can't even like. I mean, like I feel like in some ways he has, but like in some ways he has like recently. But even then, it's like, yeah, I mean, like Deku on the side. No, that wouldn't happen. And that's kind of the thing, right? It's like there's a way in which like when you're doing certain things, like it's difficult. It's difficult for certain authors to do that because like what they're writing is so kind of cookie cutter in a lot of ways that they can't do that, right? And in terms of manga, I'm talking about especially in terms of like manga, like Battle Shonen that have like a large cast of characters, can't do it, right? You know, I mean, like I still really like My Hero Academia, but you know, to me, there's a reason why The Promised Neverland is better in that aspect. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like when Luffy ain't on the front and center, Japanese people, you know, readers are like, yo, where Luffy at? And for me, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, Luffy ain't in the front and center. I'm like, okay, you know, like so long as like the stuff that's going on is compelling, that's fine. Like when I saw the Reverie, I was like, I like for me, I wanted the Reverie to be like 20 something chapters. I wanted it to be like, if it was a solid 20 chapters, I'd have been happy. I would have been so happy, but it wasn't because like he legit cannot. It's not that he cannot. It's that like he doesn't want to, and two, in a lot of ways he can't because like his whole fan base would like go insane because they're like, where's Luffy? You know. So it's like it's stuff like that. You know, that kind of like it kind of bothers me. You know. Yeah, it don't change. You know, people like Luffy's just like significant like developed as like, you know, in terms of like his emotional capacity for understanding and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, Luffy always been like that. Luffy's always been able to kind of cut through like the stuff, you know, the surface level stuff and get to like the heart of things. We know that. We know that from like from the get-go. You know what I mean? So to me, that's not like something that's like, right? It's like, okay, you know, so like, but what else? You know, and I think like sometimes people are like, oh, like, you know, they're like, oh, the author said that like, you know, they're not really going to develop this character like that. All right, so then develop other characters. You know, do that work. You know, otherwise you're just kind of writing a story where like similar things just kind of happen over and over and over and over. And to me, that's kind of like, you know, whatever. Like it gets a little boring. It gets a little contrived. I need to see more than that. You know, so again, for me, like Luffy, like it's not that I dislike Luffy necessarily. It's more like I just he's not even like in my top 10 like characters, like, you know, in terms of One Piece. Like I like, at least right now. I think earlier on, yeah, definitely. But right now, I'm just kind of like, nah. There are other characters that I'm way more invested in and interested in, and that make me smile and make me happy, and all that's good stuff. Luffy's maybe like 11 or like 12 or something like that. you know. No, I mean, like, I think like they said that it was supposed to be like that short, but to me, I was like, why? Like, and I think in some ways, one of the things that is like, one, people really love Luffy and they want to see that, they want to see that character, and two, people, you know, like, and two, to me, it's almost like it's not like Oda can't write those narratives and can't do those political kind of things because he's been doing that, you know, throughout One Piece. The thing to me is like, I think it's more so like people want Luffy. They always want to see the Straw Hats. They, like, because it's really, One Piece is a story about the Straw Hats, you know. So like really, it's really a story about the Straw Hats, like at its core. So you know they have to they have to be there most of the time, whether it's like Luffy or another Straw Hat or whatever. So that's why you have something like the Reverie and like it starts and then we like cut off from that. I'm like that to me is like not good. You know, I don't like that. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, this is why people prefer Vegeta to Goku. Like, and I mean, I think a lot of people like love Goku as a character because, like, you know, he kind of like Luffy. He represents like stability, and I think people love stability. You know, people love that. But I think a lot of people also appreciate watching like characters sort of shift. And that's why like you always kind of have like one, right, the character that's kind of like supposed to be stable, and then the character that's kind of unstable. You always have that, right? When it comes to like, especially battle shonen manga, right? You always have that duo. A lot of that has to do with, right, the stability of like one character, like for their like, you know, and what's always stable is like sort of positive things, like their convictions, their belief system, stuff like that, their desire for people to be like okay and happy and all those things. And like people want that kind of stability in their own lives. So it makes sense to have that side. And then on the other side, you have a character that really very much so reflects a sort of like struggle to reach that sort of stability. You know what I mean? That's why you always have characters like that, right? Naruto is in a lot of ways, like, to me, like a very sort of like stable character, even though he works through things, you know. And then you have like other characters like, right, and then like Sasuke is very unstable, right? That's why he's constantly flip-flopping throughout like throughout the manga. You know, and same thing with like Yo, right? Like, Yo to me is like from Shaman King is a very stable character in a lot of ways. Rarely does he like fall off, you know, the rails or anything like that. But when he does, it doesn't last for very long, right? And then you have a character like Ren, who is like right, his like unstable sort of like opposite, who is like constantly changing and constantly flip flopping and like you know, and then like really it's not until like the sort of, you know, end that you see that like there's like a sort of crystallization of like of Ren's character. Same thing with Sasuke. You know what I mean? And that's just like a thing that you just see in battle shonen. All right. Yeah. You know, Emma. That's not that. Emma's not that. Emma's not like Emma's like stable in some ways, but also like very much so. It's a different kind of stability. There's like really wonderful growth that happens and like an organic growth, and it's different. It's different from these other characters because she gets to flip flop. She gets to like have these different moments, like, you know, consistently. And, you know, she's not always happy. She's not always, you know, a-okay. She's not always necessarily getting stronger. There are moments where she just like has moments and she's just like, yo, I don't know if I can move forward, blah, 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 whatever. You know, so I love that. I think that there's a difference, you know? Yeah, and that was like a great scene, you know, like for Luffy, because it was like, that to me was like development. That was like a good like sense of development, because it was like Luffy was just like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do now, you know? And then he got to a place where he was like, oh, like, this is something that, sorry, one of my cats is just meowing. You know, and to me that was like a bit of growth there, because he was like, oh, like this is something that I can carry with me. Like I actually have my Nakama, and even though terrible things might happen, there is a source of strength and stability that I will have, like, you know, so long as like they're there. So to me, like that was like, it was different, because before that he didn't have that. You know, he didn't have that realization that like things can be taken away, you know, like very, very quickly, and like they can like stay that way, right? Like to me, Ace's death was like, yo, and he had that with Sabo, but it was weird because it seemed like Oda just kind of like added that in later on, because it didn't seem like Luffy had ever really experienced anything like that, you know, as a character when we were reading One Piece. So I don't know. There's a lot, you know. Yeah. Yo, BDB, yo, Scooby snacks, man. This is what I've been talking about. There are a lot of Scooby snacks in One Piece, but for me, like, I don't think there are any Scooby snacks in The Promised Neverland. I have to look through it. I have to reread it a bit, but there are no Scooby snacks in The Promised Neverland. Like, to me, and there's like, right, because it's a type of story where that's not a good thing. If there are Scooby snacks in The Promised Neverland, it wouldn't be a manga that I enjoy. I don't want that stuff. You know, it's boring. Yeah. But to me, this chapter was cool. Like, this chapter was cool. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that like Emma was like, yo, okay. That, like, it was gross because Emma wasn't like, no, I'm gonna save everybody and we're gonna all, like, you know, and everybody's gonna leave and we're gonna take all the like babies and stuff like that. And she, like, again, she came to the realization that, like, yo, like, if we leave with everyone, we're probably all going to die. You know, and it like, right, and like her desire works against once one desire that she has works against another desire that she has, right? And that to me is like really, really important because people have moments like that where it's like one sort of dream might like conflict with another dream that you have. So you have to figure out how to negotiate that and work things out so that you don't give up either. You know, and you can get to both of those, like, maybe just at different times. That's why, to me, that was, like, it was dope. And she's consistently had to do that. She's consistently had to, like, reevaluate how she's thinking about certain things. You know, right? Like, it's like, if she can't figure something out, then it's like, all right, like, then I can't figure it out. And then we you know, I got to seek, like, you know, other, like, help from, like, outside, like, source, right? Outside herself. That, to me, is, like, dope. You know, and I think, like, Luffy, in some ways, like, you know, he doesn't really have to do that because he has a crew and, like, you know, they just kind of like organically work like that. There's teamwork is usually involved. But they don't ever really have like sort of discussions about that in a sense, in the way that like it happens in The Promised Neverland. Yeah. Right now, Wano's kind of like whatever, you know, like, yeah. For now, like, this is, you know, this is like, you know, for this chapter was like a solid, like, it was like a solid, like, you know, I would say like a 7.5 because that moment was great. The ending, it's moving into something really cool. We're gonna see some stuff. We got some lore. That's always cool. You know, so 7.5 for me is like, you know, like is a good like number for The Promised Neverland. I thought it was a solid chapter. It wasn't like an 8 or a 9 or a 10 or anything like that for me, but 7.5 is pretty good. All right, like it's above average by a bit. And yeah, there was some really great stuff in there. Yeah, Oda, you know, he's doing what he's doing. All right, and I'm pretty sure like by the time Oda finishes One Piece, I will like, you know, I will have already like, you know, started raising like children with my fiance and future wife. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty positive. Like that's what's gonna happen. But it is, you know, it is what it is. Handing out the things you left in your will. To let us know. Yeah. I'm just like, yo, hockey is like, is corny. Hockey is corny to me. I don't like it. But it is what it is. And yeah. I mean, like it's like there's like a lot of filler stuff like for one, but like to me, it's very like typical One Piece. Like that was happening in Wano. Like the first sort of like Wano chapter we got, I was like, I don't care. And then I was like, whatever. This is like whatever chapter. And then like after that, like I think we've consistently had like, you know, a little bit above average chapters, like, you know, where it's good, where it's typical One Piece stuff, you know, where it's funny, it's interesting. Some things are a little bit interesting. But you know, the jokes are like kind of funny. They're like very typical Oda like type stuff, you know, puns and all that. And then, you know, The Promised Neverland is just like, you know, to me, very consistent in like the children, like discussing things like that to me is really key. Always seeing like the children discuss stuff. That's like vital. I always want to see that. If like there's a point where they don't, usually it's because like they're in like a life or death situation, right? When they have to kind of like figure things out just by like instinct and like knowing who they are, and each of them has to know who the other is as a person. You know what I mean? So like that's like really key. So that's why when you see the like end of the Goldie Pond stuff, they don't even really speak. They're just like, yo, we got to take this guy out. Like we got to figure like we can't really say anything because like we're just, you know, sitting around having a conversation for too long. This guy's gonna kill us. So it's like the conversations are short generally, but then they make moves. right now they're in a place where like they can have lengthy discussions, talk about the stuff that they figured out, and it makes sense because like we should be able to see these discussions. We should be able to see how they're like figuring stuff out and everything like that. That's what I like. That's one of the best things about The Promised Neverland. And it never feels like we're getting like info dumps, because there are always moments where like some characters know these things and other characters don't. It's not like everyone has heard the same bits of information at any given point in time. So that's why I like those, it's never like an info dump, right? It's always like, oh, okay, we're gonna tell this like group about the stuff that we just learned, and because they all have designated jobs and like they all have little things that they have to do. That's why it always feels organic. Sorry, one of my cats is just meowing like meow, meow, meow. All right, but that's what I like, and there's always like a bit mixed in. There's always a bit of like humor mixed in, bit of like warmth mixed in that. I think it's good. All right. Yeah, I'm like, to me that's boring. Like I'm losing. Okay, I have that power. That's boring to me. It's like the whole thing with like the battle versus Lewis. That was great because it was like they really got beat up. You know what I mean? It was like it was like if it wasn't for like that so like there was that one particular item, right? And the fact that like Lewis was like old, and it made sense that he was old and that he like couldn't like regenerate nearly as quickly, but he was still like a powerhouse, like, right? And it still came down to the wire. It still came down to like the little flash bomb bullet, So that's why, like, to me, like that battle was actually pretty well done. But I think like the anime is gonna do that pretty brilliantly. I think that's gonna be like really beautiful. They had to give it everything, and it was like, and what I loved about it was that like they like, it wasn't like, oh, another character was gonna come out of nowhere and like really, really save them. It was like characters were coming out, right? Because like that's what was planned, right? We knew that Ray and Yugo were gonna come out eventually. We knew that Adam was gonna show up eventually, and like they were extremely helpful. But even when they showed up, Lewis was still like, I'm gonna kill all of y'all. Don't matter. So they had and then Emma still got impaled, and she was like down, and then she had to like get back up just to like do this one particular thing, which is just shoot the bullet. And then they had to trust in all the work that they had together and how well they knew each other and their intellect, and be like, okay, like this is the only thing that Emma could do right now. The only thing she could do was like shoot that particular bullet, because they had discussions about plans about how they were going to do things. I like that. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen in the future, because I think this team that's going out, the squad, is going to be even more like in sync than what they sort of had at Goldie Pond, because they had to like very quickly come up with certain plans and strategies and stuff like that, and they're brilliant. But I think like, again, there's a brilliance, and then there's like the comfort that you have with like a team that you've been working with for a long time. It was just a legit fight. It was like Emma was done, right? Like Emma's done. She shot the bullet, then she fainted. Then months passed. You know what I mean? And it was like, well, weeks passed, right? It was like it was bad, and people were still injured, and it took them a long time, and they had to wait. They couldn't like say, okay, we took out Goldie Pond, let's get to the next thing. It's like time has passed, and because time has passed, the people that were chasing them are now closer than they were. So like that's the thing, like, right? It's like, it's not just like, oh, the time skip has like no consequences and they have time to rest. It's like, no, like these people that were chasing them are now closer, and now they have to make these different moves because these people are closer. And now the people that were going to help them cannot help them in the same way that they could weeks ago, because Emma was impaled because they were fighting Lewis. It's like there are all these things that are happening, and that they connect, and that's what I like. It's like, so nothing is very much so like pulled out of like thin air in a sense. I like that. Everything connects in a way that makes sense, as it should in a manga like The Promised Neverland. That's why, to me, like, the stuff is great. And some people are like, oh, this is boring, but it's like some people like need like that adrenaline like rush, like for like every chapter or every other chapter. And I'm like, okay, but like I don't think this might not be the manga for you. All right, like it might not. Because like that first arc was beautifully done, and I'm not saying that like all the other arcs were like just were like better or anything like that. But I think like there are just so many things, you know, and I think that like I'm not saying the Promised Neverland is perfect. If I were to go back, like, so maybe I'll talk about like my criticisms quickly, but yeah, World Trigger's kind of, it's cool, but it's also like it's different. I think it's different. But in some ways, there's like it doesn't have the same vibe in terms of like the sort of imminence of certain threats in a way, and like the inability to take care of those threats. I think World Trigger that's a bit less. But at the beginning, I think very much so. There are points where you're like, oh, here are these enemies where like they have to really struggle to defeat, and I think that's what makes World Trigger very good, from a sort of like the get go and a bit further into it, you know. But World Trigger's in a like just like limbo right now. It's just in a limbo place, and it is what it is because like the author, I believe, is like sick or whatever. So you know that is what it is. I'm not like gonna get on like manga because they're like dealing with like health problems. I'm like, yo, if someone's dealing with health problems, they gotta focus on the health problems. They gotta stay alive, So that to me is like fine. But if I were to say like my criticisms about the Promised Neverland, is I feel like like certain characters need to be developed more. We need to see them more. We need to see them interact more. Like I want to know more about like the kids, what they're thinking, what they're going through. Even like the younger kids, you know what I mean? I want to see them more. I want to be able to remember like the names of certain kids. Part of that is on me because I'm not very good with names usually, but I feel like character development is something that like at once the Promised Neverland is great about, but also not so great about. If it could like pick that up, that'd be fantastic for the Promised Neverland. I think that's something like it has to pick up. It has to be a bit better about that. Stay consistent with the character development of certain characters that we've seen since the beginning, right? Like Norman, Emma, Ray, Don, Gilda, Hugo, Lucas. That's the name, right? Lucas. You know what I mean? Those sort of characters, Violet, right? Those characters. Be consistent with that, right? Is Mama, Isabella, Crone, like characters like that. Be consistent in that. Peter Rautry, right? Lewis, characters like that, but also have the same consistency with these other characters that we want to see. I want to see more from Violet. I want to see more from Zach. I want to see more from Pepe. Characters like that. I need to see more of that. Demon Slayer is dope. I have to catch up on Demon Slayer. I really do. Kimetsu no Yaiba, people call it, but like in English is Demon Slayer. I want to see more character development. I also think that sometimes like there are certain things that like I would like to see more of. When we had this sort of like bullets like shatter the mask, I wanted to see more about that. But I think in some way, like I want to see more about like how those guns were constructed. What sort of work went into that, right? How did it take them so long? I want to know a bit about that. What was that process like? Why did it take them so long? That's the kind of stuff that I want to see. I want that sort of like off screened. Yeah. That's not to say like this is a bad manga, but like again, all manga have like ways in which they can be better. So I never wanted to sort of come across as like the Promised Neverland is perfect and it doesn't have to do anything and it's all great and da da da. It's like I want to see more. Yeah. I want to see some things. I want to see some flashbacks. I want to see like I want like a sort of like this is gonna be funny, but like one of the things that I loved about Bleach was that flashback arc with Kisuke Urahara and the captain of like the Keto Squad and Yororochi, I think, and you know what I mean, like and the older captains and what happened back then, and Aizen and Gin. That was dope. That was like one of the best things about Bleach. It was fantastic. We learned a lot. We understood what was going on more, in terms of like the present because of what we got in that arc. That's kind of what I want to see. That was like one of the best arcs in Bleach. If like it was to me, it was just as good as like the Soul Society arc. It was dope. It was wonderful. It did so much. It was so interesting, and I want to see that in The Promised Neverland. I want to see a flashback arc. I want to see like, you know, Lewis is a character in his prime, what he was doing to like just, you know, beating, just ending lives, taking names. You know what I mean? I want to see a lot of stuff. What happened? What was the conversation like in terms of the like the two comments said in terms of the first promise? That's what I want to see. Yeah, like Claymore. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I want to see that. I want to see that. You know, like that's the type of stuff that I think The Promised Neverland needs, and hopefully we get that sooner rather than later. I don't want us to get it too much later on, because then what you have is like something similar to like Naruto Shippuden, where we get the Madara Hashirama stuff way later on, when we could have gotten that much earlier. And I'm just like, why wait for that? Like, why wait that long? You know, so Sasuke could change his mind about something. Like, that's why you waited that long to tell that story. You could have told that story way earlier. You know what I mean? And it would have been dope. And then you could have waited, and then not waste time. Like, you could have spent more time as a Freudian slip, because I feel like there was a lot of wasted time in the Fourth Ninja War. But you could have spent that time. That time could have been better served, you know, with other stuff and developing other characters during the Fourth Ninja War, and not forgetting about like the original character, the sort of original like squads that you developed in the first part of Naruto. There are things that I need to see in The Promised Neverland, and hopefully they're done sooner rather than later. I think oftentimes what happens is you have things that are done later on, and sometimes it's because the manga has gotten to a place where you're just kind of like, just a little tired. You know, you're kind of like, I'm not really feeling what's going on right now. And then an injection of adrenaline, right? Like that's what that was. That Madara and Hashirama stuff. That was like when I was reading that week to week, that was an injection of adrenaline. People were like, a flashback, within a flashback. I'm like, ah, but I loved it. I thought it was dope. It was something that was sorely needed within Naruto, within the Naruto series, and it was great. I want to say that in Promised Neverland. This chapter was good. This is just a dope chapter, 7.5 out of 10. All right, it was cool. It did certain things that it needs to do. It transitioned from one chapter to the next, okay? Not all transition chapters are going to be a 10 or a 9 or 8, even an 8. All right, some of them are going to be 7, 6s. You know, some of them are going to be average 5s. And, you know, sometimes it might even be lower than a 5. It might not be so great in terms of a transition chapter. It might be kind of boring in a certain way. You might not have learned much. You know, it might not be particularly interesting. So, yeah. All right. I reacted to The Promised Neverland chapter 99. All right. And these are just my, you know, live action initial thoughts. Okay. I got to talk to, like, you know, Promised Neverland fans. It's always dope. That's one of the reasons why I love to stream. I used to be like, man, I'm never going to stream. I'm not going to live react. You know, I just want to do reviews and blah, blah, blah. But then once I started streaming, I was like, yo, this is dope. Like, you get to talk to people and you get to have certain conversations, and it's really great. And it's just really great. It's just like a way like to interact with people, and you can interact with people in a way that you just can't, where you're just kind of like putting out videos and recording them and doing all that stuff. To me, it's a little like, for me, all right, I'm not saying other people shouldn't do that, but for me, it's like, there's a different way in which you react. You know what I mean? Like, you have to respond to comments and stuff. And for me, the reason why streaming works is because I just don't have the time. Like, I just don't have the time to like respond to every comment that's been put down. You know, I can like comments, I can love comment, you know, put a love next to the comment and stuff like that. But like, it's hard for me to kind of sit down, respond to the comments in like the way that I need, in the ways that I need to, because like I just simply don't have the time. Like, I gotta like prep, I gotta do work, I got, you know, I got stuff I gotta do. You know, but I think in the near future, like, I'm gonna try to be better about that a bit. But streaming is like dope. I love streaming. It's great. I get to talk to all y'all. What's up, John Boy? Right, Yume, who's been there from like the early days. You know what I mean? You know, Family Guy 10, what's up? Shout out to you. All right, Shuganma, Key. All right. Hype Beast Morgans. All right. You know what I mean? Who else was here? Someone's here at the beginning. Ghost Prime, right? Like, it's just like, it's dope. I get to talk to y'all, and I get to talk to y'all about this manga that I love. This is a good chapter. It was a good chapter. It was a solid chapter. Did what it needed to do, and I gotta get out of here because it is 7:16, and I want to make sure that like I'm just kind of focusing on certain things, getting stuff done. You know, you already know what it is. All right, so I gotta get out of here. Okay. I gotta get out of here. But thank y'all for coming through. All right. This was dope. I love streaming. I'm gonna keep streaming. And I don't know, maybe I'll react to something else soon. We'll see. I'll see. I'll look through like stuff and I'll see like what I still need to react to. And maybe I'll like react to like a chapter or a couple of chapters or something like that. You know, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe not today. I don't know, but or maybe like I'll stream about something else. Maybe like I'll set up a stream and I'll just kind of like have a conversation about, you know, whatever. I'll see. I'll think about it. I do want to stream about a certain topic, but I'll mention that on like Twitter. All right, but let me get out of here. All right, shouts out to all y'all that came through. I'm a Black Manga critic. All right, and I'm gonna get out of here. All right, so I'm out.